was standing once in York Minster, gazing at the wonderful stained glass windows and marvelling that such a building could ever be built by people who had no access whatsoever to the technology that builders have today. And yet the building stands, testament to the ability of our forefathers to construct something quite unbelievably wonderful. But then my thoughts were disturbed when a voice came over the PA system, reminding us that this was a house of God and asking us to remain quiet for a few moments. And suddenly the buzz of that great cathedral subsided to a hush. It was a quite moving reminder as to why buildings like that were ever built. One of the most famous paintings in the world is that of Michelangelo on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome. It's of God reaching down to Adam. Is it me, or does it look as if God is doing most of the reaching? Man seems to be a wee bit half-hearted about the whole business. Eric was once struggling through a bout of despair, and one day he stood with his father and said, "Daddy, remember how we used to swim across that river? And once I got halfway and I said to you, I don't think I can make it. And you held on to me, Daddy. Well, I don't think I can make it this time." And at that moment, the boy's father put his arms around him and said, "I won't let you go this time either. Hang on in there and we'll go on together." Life can be hard. Life can be unfair. Never a week passes but I hear of people who must be tempted to throw in the towel and come to the conclusion that God just does not care. But that is not the message of the Bible. But actually, there's also a demand that we should love and care for each other. I remember hearing of a fellow who was travelling through Israel, and at one point the bus driver pulled over and placed a big white sign on the side of the bus in Arabic. And the sign said, "This is an Arab bus, please don't throw stones." When he got closer to Tel Aviv, the driver pulled another sign from behind the seat and replaced the first sign, and it was in Hebrew. And the new sign said, "This is a Jewish bus, please do not throw stones." How do you tell the difference between an Arab and a Jewish bus? In fact, how do you identify a Christian? A few years ago, there was a survey of people who had no connection at all with the church, and one of the statistics that struck me was that only 44% of them surveyed had a good impression of clergy, of ministers, priests, rabbis. Are we missing the target? There once was a woman who read that she should feed her dog a tablespoon of cod liver oil each day. So every day she chased the dog until she caught it, forced the cod liver oil down the dog's throat, until one day the bottle was kicked over in the stramash. And with a sigh she started to wipe up the mess. But at that point, the dog trotted over to the puddle and began lapping it up. The dog loved cod liver oil. It was the way it was being delivered that the dog did not like. In the church, I believe the message is good, but how we deliver it is often not so good. But there's another thing. Who we are speaks so loudly to people that often they can't hear what we're saying. And the danger in the church is that it's becoming a reminder of a day long since gone. How has the church become irrelevant to people's lives? Maybe it is because we who speak so loudly that actually people can't hear what we say. Because they watch what we do. They listen to who we are, and then they make up their mind. Over the years, I've seen people fall out with their minister. I've seen ministers fall out with their congregation, usually over the most trivial of reasons. And I remember a friend of mine who used to get a lot of hassle from a very domineering woman in his congregation. She was always telling him that she was going to go to another church. And he decided he would carry around in his pocket her transference certificate, that thing that would allow her to go to another church. And the next time she said that to him, he would just say, "Well, here you are. You can join another church." And indeed, that's what happened. And it's sad. We are called to turn the world upside down. What happens is that we often just turn other people off. Jesus said his followers would be identified by their love, not by their clothes, not by their car, not by where they lived or the stickers they had, but by their love. He said, "A new commandment I give to you. Love one another as I have loved you. By this all men will know you're my disciple." I think it's amazing that many people who profess Christianity miss that injunction. But it's pretty clear. In fact, it couldn't be clearer. By this all will know that you're my disciples, if you love one another. Have you got it? Amen.
Gracious Father, the words of Jesus to us, his followers, are simple. Love one another. And yet we're not good at it. We get upset when people don't agree with us. Help us then to live at peace with one another. Help us to have respect, compassion, and love for each other. And we acknowledge if we do love one another, we're not so good at showing it in action. Help us to have a loving concern for those who are sick, who are sad, who are hungry, who are weary, who are poor, and who are disadvantaged. Out of our love for them, we ask your prayers for them tonight, and we ask peace in their hearts. Amen.